At this point, I'm becoming a pony. I have multiple Sony products. I have a working PS4, I now have a Sony TV, and I have another PS4. This one has issues, and from what I've seen, it has to do with the Blu-ray drive either not detecting or something else. I did try and stick a disc in there, and it seems like the Blu-ray drive is actually jammed. Also, I got myself a Sony camcorder. Granted, this one's from 2010, but it's a full 1080p camcorder, and all it really needs is a new set of batteries and a wall charger. So if this guy works, I'll have a way to kind of compartmentalize my YouTube videos, mainly for when I'm building my figurines. I can use this guy for recording the actual build log, and when it comes to actually doing the done video, I'll usually use like one of my more higher end devices. Like my Pro I right here, which has a really good camera, but it's an Android phone, so what do you expect? And or my iPhone XR, which also does 4K, and generally speaking, the iPhone, even though it's old, still seems to provide a really good clean image. I just gotta make sure I have good lighting. But with that said, I got this Sony TV for $5. It was going to be recycled, so I saved it. It seems to work. I got a remote with it. Hopefully that works. And the PS4 here, it was 35 again because of the errors right here. So with that said, first things first, I want to see if I actually get this TV to switch inputs, and then I'll connect the PS4 up so you can see what it's doing. So let me get this situated and come back. As you can see, the TV does seem to be working completely fine, and surprisingly enough, the remote I bought actually works. So now I need to see if I can get past this because I don't really care for Netflix. Ew, it's a smart TV. What the fuck? Why the hell does it have Napster on this thing? Didn't Napster go the way of the dodo? Whatever. Well, I'm going to do a restart of this thing and start using it because it seems to fully work. From the looks of it, this is just a big ass Android TV with HDMI ports. Granted, I'm pretty certain the OS that's on this thing is really fucking ancient and also ugly reflections. Apparently this is one of their fancy TVs that requires this type of remote. With that said, for the giggles, I hooked up my Logitech keyboard thing here, and I have a mouse, and if I hit Control Alt Delete, it restarts the TV. So theoretically, there's a way I could actually bypass this. I just gotta figure out what I need to do key combo wise to actually get past it, because this thing is running more or less Android. It's just heavily modified. Alright, all I did is I just hit exit, and I had this option right here. So if I hit next, oh, looks like I'm good to go. Alright, and now I can actually now use my $5 TV as an actual TV instead of having to have it connected to the internet and bullcrap like that. So now I got to plug in the broken PS4 and show you what it's doing. Luckily this PS4 does turn on. And I just gotta wait for it to display an image, so I'll be right back. That's a little annoying, but whatever. You can kind of see what's going on with the PS3, so let me deal with this. Basically, I need to install the firmware for this thing. There's a reason why I actually bought this thing. As you can see, it's on firmware 9.3, which means I'll be able to jailbreak this thing theoretically within a few months if I can manage to get 9.3 actually installed. So let me get a thumb drive actually set up, and we'll see if I can actually get it to work. Spoiler alert, unless somehow it starts miraculously working, it's not going to. So let me get the thumb drive set up and I'll come back. Alright, got the thumb drive set up. This is the exact same thumb drive I've used on my PS3s, and I know it works. I know it's properly formatted to properly work on these consoles. So theoretically, it should work, but I forgot that the piss poor sandwich is just a little bit too thin. So let me grab a way to get this done. Alright, here's how I'm going to do it. Micro USB long cable to a little adapter that terminates to USB again. That way so I can actually properly connect the thumb drive to the PS4 and actually get it to read. So Let's see, can I do this all on camera? No. All right, when I connect it, I should get a little red light. Or maybe I won't. It's been a while since I actually used this thing, so let me grab the old PS4 controller again. And the console turned itself off. Well, it was idling for like 5-10 minutes. All right, let's try this again. All right, so if I hit OK, I get detection on the thumb drive, as you can see, but it'll eventually error out. And of course, like I said, that's because the Blu-ray drive is not being detected or something like that. Usually it is due to the Blu-ray drive of some sort. And as you can see, we got the exact same error. So I'm going to turn off the system and I'm going to pull this thing apart and see what's going on. I think it might just be jammed, but I don't know. Two more things I want to take note of is someone's been in here, and two, this thing seems to run really hot. So I don't know what this thing looks like on the inside, but my one that's works completely fine, the one I uploaded a video on a while ago, I mean, it gets warm, but not like this. And this was just idling. It shouldn't be getting this hot. So it may actually be stopping itself from dying, but giving me the error of the Blu-ray drive and whatnot. So I'm going to open this thing up and we're going to see what the inside looks like. I think it's going to be a little nasty, but be prepared for bugs. I just noticed I have a pretty well stripped out screw, so hopefully this stopped the person from going any farther. But considering the tape right here for the antenna wire has been broken, it is possible the person did go farther, but hopefully, again, this screw actually stopped the person from, again, going any deeper than just this. So I'll deal again with all this off camera and come back. All right, this screw I pulled out, this screw is actually meant for here. How do I know that? I've pulled apart one of these before, so I know generally what screw goes where. So unfortunately, someone actually has been far more deeper into this system than I was hoping. So with that said, I can't use that screw anymore, but let's see what's underneath cover number 1. If I can figure out where to grab it. Am I stupid? There we go. A little bit of dust, not much in the heatsink at least. Here's the disk drive. I do not see a disk in here, so we got that. So that means the reason why I wasn't able to get a disk in here initially was because that screw was in the way. So with that said, I'm actually going to plug this thing in and see if I have any life in the Blu-ray drive and whatnot. Sorry for shaky hands, but with that said, alright, I saw the laser move. The cooling fan is spinning, so let's see if it can take a disc. As of right now, it still does not want to take a disc. But at least the screw is not stopping it like I originally thought. So with that said, I'm going to fully pull this thing apart and we're going to see what's going on. At the very least, there is thermal paste on there. Either the original owner didn't get as far as pulling the board, or he pulled the board and reapplied new thermal paste. So with that said, now to get to the main part of this, which is the Blu-ray drive. Alright, as much cleaning as I need, new thermal paste applied. I have it back together enough to where I can test it. I'm going to work with this thing off camera until I either get it working or it just doesn't. So I'll come back whenever that is. I highly doubt this will work, but I'm going to try it in safe mode. I don't have the option to initialize because, well, there's no OS on here. So if I'm lucky, this will work, but I am not holding my breath. Also, I do think there is something wrong with the Blu-ray drive because I moved the laser all the way back. And normally when these things boot, they go through a little sequence in their own. And the laser should automatically go back to center. And, well, that hasn't happened. So more than likely, if I'm lucky, this is all that needs to be replaced. I've done this before with a PS3 Slim, and I bought a Blu-ray drive, but unfortunately that did not work. I don't know why, but maybe this time around I'll get it to work. If this doesn't work, like I said, I doubt it will. Just like I thought, it aired out also. So next course's option is to buy a new Blu-ray drive for it and hope that it works. Alright, so I got back together. There's one thing I want to do. I just want to put a disc in there and see the drive, or at least the thing turns on. Okay, so it does turn on and turns right off. And of course, it still doesn't want to take the actual disc. So at least the little latches at the very back that tell the PlayStation that there's a disc either being inserted and whatnot are fully working. But the laser and the head and whatnot, they don't work. So at least we have that. But of course, it's turning itself off because, well, the disk drive isn't actually accepting, and, well, the PS4 doesn't know what to do with itself. So it'll eventually... Ooh, that was a hard click. Well, I know the Blu-ray drive needs to be replaced, so hopefully replacing the Blu-ray drive will fix this thing. Like I said, I did this before and I had issues, but I didn't know I actually had to make sure that the Blu-ray drive was compatible for the specific model of my PS4 4. So I need to make sure that the Blu-ray drive I get is actually compatible with this iteration of the PS4 4. And again, theoretically, I'll have this thing fully working and I could actually put a 9.3 back on this thing and eventually put 11 whatever on it so I can actually properly jailbreak this thing down the road. So for the time being, I'm kind of be putting this thing on the old pile of dust for a while. But at least it does still turn on. So at least there's that. Alright, I'm going to quickly talk about the TV. It's a 46-inch, 1080p. It's running Android 3.2. Kind of goes how old this TV is. If it wasn't for the bezels, I already gave it away. With that said, I may actually end up swapping this TV for the 4K because, let's be honest, nothing is being broadcast in 4K. So why have a 4K panel when this 1080p TV from eons ago looks just as good as it did more than likely when it was brand new? And of course, this was more than likely one of the top tier TVs of the day. And, well, if I can get it to fit where I currently have my 43 inch, I'm going to do it. And luckily, I snagged the stand while I was over there because, well, as you can see, the stand on this TV is fairly unique to say the least. So now I need to see if I can find some bolts for this thing to properly bolt it to the TV and then see if I can actually get this to sit where I want it to sit. Another thing I forgot to mention is the speakers. Speakers on older sets, especially the more higher tier ones, the sound is just better. I mean, yes, this 4K TV cost me like $600 something, but the sound that this thing produces is ass in comparison to this one right here. So I'm very keen to set this up as my next personal TV. A downgrade, but a downgrade I'm happy with. The video I'm recording doesn't give this TV justice for how big it is, but it is significantly bigger and it is the max I could fit in my room. I'm already having a bit of a trouble getting out of my room, but if I had it any bigger, well, it would be a pain in the butt. And I'm already knocking into my previous one from time to time. And the only reason why I'm even planning on using this as my new TV is because, well, this thing is literally a freaking boat anchor and it's built like a freaking tank. So if I do knock into it, it ain't going nowhere. And when it comes to actually mounting the stand, one main bolt right there, two secondary bolts right there. I do need to go and properly secure them, but I don't see it being too much of an issue. And plus, I can probably find some bolts over on my local freegeek to actually properly bolt this thing down. But as it currently stands, for $5, I can't complain. It'll just take some time for me to get used to properly navigate and whatnot. I mean, if I can move my door a little more this way, I wouldn't bump into this TV, but my room is small, as you already can tell, and I'm pretty size constrained. It's a miracle you can even get this to fit here in the first place. So the next thing I need to do is to figure out my TV box situation and the little computer I have behind my TV, because I don't think the computer I was using is actually going to fit behind there because of this big old metal stand. But that's the next step to figure out. Apparently, the Sony gods are a little smarter than I thought, and well, the TV computer I had behind the TV fits perfectly fine. I can still even get access to the power cable and whatnot, and the HDMI ports are here and here, and I have USB ports up the wazoo. Like I said, this was a fully featured TV back in the day, and I'm very happy with what it has for actual options, which is far more than what my $600 something, $650 4K shitbox TV has for options. Only 3 HDMIs and like 1 USB port. Alright, it is the next day. I'm going to give a quick update on the Handycam right here. It actually works. I managed to rig up a little charging solution to at least charge up one of these little batteries just enough where I can kick this thing into life and see if it works. And from the looks of it, everything's working completely fine. It's just the batteries are completely toast. When it comes to charging up these batteries, or at least charging one of them up, I'm using my hobby grade battery charger. I have it set to nickel metal hydride because I don't have a way to properly plug into the sense wire, or at least I don't think I do. And I'm using that to properly charge this thing up. So one thing to note right out of the gate is that it says 6.8. I don't know why it says that, because this is a 2-cell lithium. 2-cell lithium packs like this are run at a 7.3 volts, so there must be some type of little step-down converter on this thing for the board, or it's just Sony being weird. Either way, even though I have it set to nickel metal, it says it's already done, even though it's clearly not. Or maybe it might actually run at this voltage, I don't know. Either way, it says it's done, so it's not going to run for long again, but maybe I'll get it enough to show you that it works. And as you can see, I got an image on screen, and it's fully working. I don't know how long it'll last, but it does work. Let me see if I can get the shoe to pop now. Nope, I still can't get the shoe to pop. Is this actually motorized or what? Whatever. Well, the camera works, as you can tell. And, well, I'm definitely going to buy a battery or two for this thing, because I can actually use this thing for my videos and whatnot. I just noticed something. This thing has a hard drive built into it. I didn't actually see this when I was originally looking at this camera, but this thing has a hard drive in it. I bet you this thing has a hard drive that the iPod Classics had and whatnot. I don't see this thing having a 2.5 inch. That's actually pretty interesting. If this thing has a hard drive like the iPods and whatnot, I might want to flash mod it. Then again, I mean, it already has a little flash card reader right here. If I can get this stupid door to open. But it takes the Sony proprietary crap, so I mean, there's adapters and whatnot, but if I could flash mod this thing with a 250 gig standard SD card, I'm not going to use micro, because fuck micro cards and those things freaking crap all the time. But yeah, so this thing's going to be a little bit more of a wait for me to get up and running, but supposedly Saturdays when I'll actually be able to properly boot this thing up. Surprisingly enough, there's a guide on iFixit of how to properly replace the hard drive on this thing. And just like I thought before, it's just a standard hard drive found in an iPod Classic and whatnot. This is an 80 gig one, and it's dead. And of course, if I place it where the hard drive is, it more or less lines up completely fine. So that means I can possibly flash mod this camcorder and add a 200 something gig SD card into this thing at some point down the road. But for right now, I just want to see if I can actually record stuff to the internal drive that's on this thing already. I don't see why the drive may be dead, but these things are given to freegeek for a reason. And there might be something more physically wrong with this thing that I couldn't test because, well, the battery lasts for no more than like 30 seconds. Just enough to like do the date and time, and then it just dies. At least they try and make the knockoff chargers look a little more professional. But with that said, it came in, it is now Saturday, and now I get to see if this thing can run off wall power, so give me a second to get this set up and I'll come back. Alright, so cable plugged in. Now I gotta see what happens when I plug it into the wall, so give me a second. Well, we got a light. Does it turn on? And it does. So it looks like this little knockoff charger, in fact, works. I don't trust this thing as far as I could throw it because it's literally it's literally lighter than paper, but it seems to work. So I'll just monitor this thing to make sure it doesn't get too hot. And of course, I'll also monitor this to make sure nothing odd happens. But I can now actually use this stinking camcorder finally. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there was in fact crap on this hard drive, and as you can see, I'm currently in the process of nuking everything. That way, so I can actually start using this thing as my own, and none of the original data is on this thing. So this is going to take a little while since this actually has a hard drive inside it. So I'm going to let the thing charge up, and I'm actually going to use this thing. I'm actually going to use this camcorder to record the video for the PS4 Slim right there when I get the Blu-ray drive in for it, which is going to be Tuesday is currently Saturday, so that's going to be a few days from now. But yeah, I'm happy to say that this camcorder works completely fine, and I can actually use it. The real question is, what does it look like on YouTube and whatnot when I actually record a video from it? It's from 2010, so the quality is definitely going to be noticeable, but the question is, how noticeable? It's a Sony, so hopefully it's not going to be too atrocious, but we're going to have to wait and see. Apparently, I only deleted a few things, so I'm going to make sure I do a proper delete. So I'm going to format the hard drive completely. How long is it going to take? Oh, not that long. Alright, that's been completed. So now I should be able to hit the hard drive thing. And there is now nothing on the hard drive. If I go to here, again, there is nothing. I don't know why this is freaky. Oh, that's because there's nothing I should record it. That's why. So, we're good to go. I finally formatted this whole thing, and now it's officially mine. So, yay. I got to change that out, but I'll do that a little later on. But it looks like everything's now working the way I want it to. Before I finish the video off, I do want to quickly talk about the Sony TV I bought. It's been working perfectly fine. It's a great little TV. And like I mentioned before, this is as big of a TV as I could fit in my room while still being able to get out of my actual room and whatnot. And I'm very happy with it. And that 4K TV I got right now, which is in the kitchen, I have a few ideas on what I want to do with it, but I have to wait on my parents to figure out if they actually want to go through with it. But for the end of the video, I can say for a fact I like my $5 Sony TV. I should hopefully be able to fix this thing on Monday and or Tuesday. And the Sony camcorder I got for free fully works. So I think I got a nice little haul from my local freegeek yet again.